Do you find yourself making awesome artwork but you don't have any way of carrying it? Your normal backpack's just way too small. Cheap plastic bags will definitely not do it. Not to mention, they're so last year. These portable drawing tables are nice and all, but they're expensive and don't protect your artwork from the elements. And if you got portfolio, they're expensive and they run down over time. This one's even missing a strap. You can order this right now with the number on screen. That's 555-555-55555. Yep, one easy payment of $5 for this very own bag. Or I could just show you how to make it and we could drop the skit. Let's do this. So way back when I did my Jack Kirby tribute, I drew this thing and it was so big it didn't fit on my desk. So I actually made something that made it a lot easier for me to work on it. And that was this portable drawing table that I ended up making into a pseudo portfolio to help keep this safe in between penciling and inking. It was a lifesaver. I've been looking to getting a new portfolio for about a year now and they're pretty expensive. I've had this one for about 6 years and you can see the little connectors broke. I've sewn it more times than I can count. I even lost the strap and the original cardboard completely broke, so I actually have foam core in this thing. It's basically trash. So all this in mind, I came up with the idea of what if I could make a portfolio for stupid cheap that could easily be customized, and on top of that, it'd be fun to make and it could be a good hack that could help someone who's on a budget. So I got thinking and figured out how to make a $5 portfolio, because this was actually a lot of fun to make. It was super easy and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Everything you need you can purchase at your local Dollar Tree, and on top of that I'm going to talk about why I actually like this a little more than my actual portfolio. I mentioned how everything you need for this project you can get at your local Dollar Tree. Number one you want to get are Velcro. You can get this super easily, and on top of that you have different versions. Duct tape, I picked red because that's my favorite color. Our last $3 go to 3 sheets of foam core. This stuff comes in white or black, so you pick whatever color you like. I picked white because that's the only one that my Dollar Tree had. You should already have the duct tape, but you really should already have some type of X-Acto knife kit. I have this kind that was a gift from my lovely girlfriend, and it is one of the best ones you can get. I heavily recommend it. You're also going to need a hot glue gun. Though any other type of glue will work just the same, I prefer hot glue. Not needed, but scissors will actually help you. And in case you don't want to damage your desk, some type of cutting mat, but this is optional. And lastly, a ruler. Don't need one this big, but it does come in handy. If you don't, this thing's like $4 at Walmart. Hey Kissy, give us the okay for a super time lapse. Woo! Super time lapse! So step 1. Take 2 pieces of poster board and place them next to each other, making sure the edges are aligned. I attached them with 2 pieces of tape, one on each end, and that was to make sure that they were perfectly aligned and stayed together. The real way we're going to attach this is actually using just a lot of duct tape in the middle. This creates our folding joint and will keep your artwork from falling out. And I ended up using about 4 to 5 layers. You could probably get away with 1 to 2. And there you go. Next part, we're going to take our other piece of poster board and we're going to take our ruler and we're going to cut it. I'm cutting portrait length because I usually do more portrait than landscape length. You could do it the other way, and we're also going to trim another piece off just so it's not the exact same length. You don't have to do this. I just did because I like it. I also decided to take off the labels because I forgot to do that at this point. I'm also going to let my hot glue gun heat up because we're going to need it in a minute. While we're waiting, I decided to make some marks on where that bar is going to go, and I'm also going to start working on the Velcro parts. I measure out the Velcro to make sure my initial plan worked, which it didn't, so I modified it and just ended up cutting the Velcro into 3 strips. Also cut off any curvy parts because it will affect your build later and the stability will just not be the same. At this point my hot glue was heated up, so I used it and applied it generously to the bar. That way it can stay on tight. I also press fit it to make sure that it's on there good. A little pressure goes a long way with glue. You don't have to do this next part, but I chose to, which was to add glue to the seams, just to make sure it was nice and sturdy and I didn't have to worry about the paper getting stuck. It's not something you have to do, but I recommend it just so it's more sturdy. Also, I like hot glue. I'm also going to put away my hot glue gun because I don't need it anymore. And make sure it doesn't burn me, I'm going to empty it out. Now we're going to make the handle, and this part was a little difficult. I ended up just folding duct tape on top of itself multiple times to create some type of handle, and I messed up quite a bit. But in doing so, I actually learned how to do this, so it came in handy pretty well. And it's just folding duct tape over and over to make a very sturdy little handle. It's pretty easy and super effective. Just takes a little bit getting used to. You're going to repeat this process a few times because you want to create 3 different strands of duct tape. One's going to be your main handle, and the other one's actually going to be your 2 connecting handles that connect it to the actual portfolio. Now the way I did this was I layered one long piece that would cut in half, and that would be my straps for my actual handle. Also make sure you clean and cut off any sticky parts that are kind of layovers because it's not going to always be perfectly flat and not perfectly connect. Apply generous tape to connect them all together. Remember, this is how you're going to be carrying your portfolio, so you want the straps to be super secure and stick together really well. After some measuring, I made my cuts and ended up shortening it, so I did waste a little bit of tape, but that's okay. I also mark where I want my handle to be, and I decided not to have the boards stay against my pencils, so I used this paint to prop it up. After marking where I want my handle to be, I apply a generous amount of red tape. Probably a little more than I should have, but oh well, it keeps it secure and safe, and I don't have to worry about this breaking and falling apart. I ended up using all of my red duct tape on this part. If you have other types of tape, it would have probably been less, but I just want to make sure it was all good. Afterwards, I grabbed some paper, and this is going to be the length of paper that I'm going to use for this project. It is 14 by 18, and after cutting the 2 pieces down and removing the little extra fills, I decided to move it so that I could measure exactly where it's going to go. Since it's going to go right there, I know that that's where I could place my Velcro. So, what I start off, I peel one end, applying the sticky part to it, and then attach the sticky part to the actual board. This is important because it means that they're going to line up because they're already connected. This last one was a little tricky because it just didn't want to go right. But after applying it, you then peel off the other sticky part. You see how they're connected? Yep, there we go. Now we place it down, and that's going to do a good job making sure they're lined up and stick together. Apply plenty of pressure. Then take your time splitting it apart. The first time you do this, it's going to be a little tricky and you could easily bend the portfolio. Afterwards, just redo that and you're done. I really like how this came out. It's super cheap and super easy. Anyone can do it, and you have access to materials at any point. Now, one thing I like about this is that with the Velcro in place, it holds the paper down so that you don't have to worry about it spilling out. And it will keep your artwork safe. I have used this before. Also, it works really nice to extend your drawing layout so that you can work on larger scale projects. And for me, I put my bar here at the bottom because I do more portraits, especially with my larger projects. But for you, if it works best, you could put it long ways or even do both. Totally acceptable. You could even go as far as to put a strap on here so you can carry it more like a purse or a messenger bag. And if you go to use it for drawing, just lift this part up, fold the handle in, push it down, and it's gone. So you don't have to worry about that flopping everywhere. But I liked it like this so that I can carry it like a suitcase, like professional adults. Now, I did mention how there was one aspect about this that I honestly did like more than a traditional portfolio, and that's the customizability. You see, not only did you make this, but you can even go as far as to draw on it and really make it your own. Like, for example, the back, you could easily do, like, let's say you're a huge Batman fan like me, you could do a giant Batman drawing and then put tape on it to laminate it, or just spray it with some type of clear coating. Either way, it's something that you can do to make this your own and really express your individuality as an artist and a person. In fact, the prototype I built, see, it's stained with lead and a ton of ink. It has little gashes in it because I have a very heavy handwriting, so it does express who I am as an individual and as an artist, which I like that, and something that I wish you could do with normal portfolios outside of just putting a pin on it. Either way, I do recommend making this because it's super cheap, it's fun, you can customize it, and on top of that, if you are super low on cash and you need a portfolio, this will do the job. Now, I do recommend getting a real portfolio if you work in the professional field, but for now, this could do you good. And let me know if you're going to make one. Let me know what you think of this build. Do you think it's practical? Do you like it? Do you hate it? All that fun jazz I normally ask. And on top of that, subscribe to the channel for more art-based content and some animation. I'm Battle Brawler, also known as J-Rod, and I draw power my own soul. I also build weird things that I think are fun and relate to art, so I also do that.